Hey guys, it's me, EODGamer here, and so DOT maybe is coming out soon. We never know, new reruns of characters, old reruns of characters, and whatever not. I want to talk in this video about whether DOT as a playstyle, as characters, is it worth it? And if it will ever be, when is it actually good for your account specifically? I always like to start things first off with something interesting in the current game state, what it is now, so we set a bit of context. Let's first things first, talk about the problems, and then we'll go into good stuff. So we start off with the bad-ish stuff, and then we'll get into more optimism, and also looking for current, going to future. Let's start things first off with the first biggest problem with DOT currently. If you think about the current whole entire game state right now in the game, we are pretty much running break team compositions, and break is like super strong. So if you check out like the first section here, most of the team compositions that are very meta, it's like maybe you have follow up team compositions on one side, and then you have these break team compositions like Runmei, Harmony, MC that pretty much centers and is like one of the core fundamentals of why break is so strong as a team composition right now. These two characters or these styles actually contradict DOT as a playstyle. Why do I say that? Let's assume that you do not have Kafka, or even if you maybe do have Kafka, you're playing DOT. The problem with like DOT is you need the enemies to move. If you don't move, the enemies don't move, they don't proc their DOT, and you will basically do no damage unless of course you rely on Kafka's skill to do that pop on the enemies, and that doesn't do too much damage. So because of the conflicting nature of the meta right now against break, which is opposite to DOT, break prevents the enemy from moving so that you can do more damage in other sources. DOT wants the enemy to move faster. That is the key issue right now in the current game state of the meta. But not only that, other things also affect it, and I just want to throw it in here even though it's like not super meta right now. But debuffs, because we are also in a debuff meta with Akirion, any of your characters, maybe if you're playing like Welt, for example, if you're Akirion, you're playing Silver Wolf, who has some sort of slow occasionally in the kit. If you have a lot of slow and you stack it with like a freeze comp, a perma freeze, they basically will never take a turn. So that is like a pseudo form of anti-DOT, if you will it. So break teams, super slow teams, or slowing the enemy teams, these are two things that go against team compositions like DOT, and one of the key fundamental problems right now, if you're talking about current game state, why DOT teams are not super attractive and why everyone doesn't chant, oh I love DOT. That is the first one. The second thing that I want to talk about is with a problem of team compositions. So what does a typical best in slot team composition look like for DOT right now? Best in slot, of course, is very arguably, you can like discuss many ways, but let's just put for just one example here. You have 3 teams, 3 characters, 3 limited DOT characters, each doing their different element DOT, and then you have Huo, who is arguably the best in slot sustain for DOT teams in general, because she buffs attack throughout, she gives energy throughout, everyone in DOT loves that. Very fantastic, good sustain, good cleanse, and etc. too. So in a team compositions like this, the issue with this, which DOTs want to apply more debuff on the enemies, you in the end give up very meta strong supports in the game, which is your Harmony buffers like Runmei, Harmony MC, Sparkle, Robin, many other characters in the entire list. And by giving these like super flavor of the month Harmony characters, you are in a sense handicapping your account because you're playing with like the second tier in terms of without the best buffers in the game. So you're not making meta use of the current game state. And that is probably the second problem right now, is some of you might be thinking, you take out one of them and you slap in a character, for example, like Runmei, Robin and stuff. At the end of the day, you will much rather this person over here, for whoever you throw in this slot, be a DOT applier so that you can do more damage when the enemy takes their turn. It plays into the whole stylistic presence. Team compositions, DOT generally want to afflict as much DOT as you can across all the team members, so you stack everything on them. When the enemy goes, they just and then all of the damage is being done as well. So that is the second main problem. You just don't play into meta characters right now. And that's a current problem because meta always changes, but I'll leave you on that teaser. Let's go in the third point of view. The third thing, quite intuitive, but I'll expand on this, is it's freaking expensive to play a very strong DOT team. If you have the 4 characters here and you're playing all of them, you probably don't think that they are bad. But more often than not, some of you might not have all 4 limited characters and you might have to replace them with 4-star alternatives, or even swap them out for Harmony because you just don't have all the limited characters to fulfill like the most expensive team of DOT out there. It is quite expensive, right? You need 4 freaking limited characters, and you also have to join the game at the right time in order to pick them up. So these are some alternatives which are much squishier. When you are squishier in DOT teams, there is no aggro drawer in these kind of teams. So chances are one of them may die if they are the only 4-star and the rest are 5 stars. Their stats just don't measure up to base HP of 5 stars. It matters a lot in nihility teams, DOT teams especially. And of course, when is the last time we have seen a character like Kafka as well as Black Swan? I put up here, we always do predictions on our channel of what comes next, and this is just a track record of the history, or just a past record of the history of character banner reruns that has happened. Kafka was way back in 1.6, the last time she made an appearance. Black Swan was way back in 2.0. They are just one patch apart, and 10 banners have gone by, and 9 banners respectively for Kafka and Black Swan have gone by since we last had them. So if you're a person playing a team that looks like this right now, you probably have been playing at least 6-7 months, if not you won't get them. Maybe their banners are coming up. We have done predictions on the channel already. You can check them out if you're interested. But either way, it's a very expensive team to run, and likely you newer players might not have even access to these team compositions in the first place. You do not have Kafka. The first problem of unable to break enemies or fighting into broken enemies or super slow enemies that don't take their turn becomes an even big issue. And that is why DOT is not a very popular style right now in the current game state. And that is the third problem. As promised, let's stop talking about naysay. EOD, what is this video even for? You're telling me it's not worth it to even play. But what you realize, everything I've been talking about is current. Game always changes. Game state always changes. And let's talk about one positive, and then I'll talk about some upsides. So this is still current. We're still in current game state here. We haven't time-lapsed into the future yet. But what are the current positives or use for DOT right now? If you were talking about right now, what is the use of DOT? Where does it best play? Most currently in the game, right now, as of time of recording, where DOT finds its relevance for all of the dismerits, negatives, whatever that DOT has right now in the game, probably finds most comfort in a team composition of DOT plus Akirion, duckdragon, whatever you guys like to name it. What this comp basically is Akirion, for those of us who like this character, knows that she needs to play in multiple nihility characters. If you have her at E0, E2 you just need 1. And some of us may not have the other nihility characters well built. We prefer playing with 5 stars. What that ends up with is a character like Kafka with Akirion, maybe Jiaoqiu with Akirion, who is currently on banner, and maybe even fewer people play Black Swan with Akirion. And these are all ways that people try to get around that 2 nihility, 1 nihility requirement, and why DOT is still currently being played, mainly because of Akirion team compositions. Enough about current, now let's go on to optimism in the future as well. A brighter future for DOT lineup. So that backstory of the current matters a lot because I told you basically the fundamental things that affect DOT and what is required for them to go up in value. Let's talk about the first section over here. And I have no idea why this bar, so maybe it was a mistake on my part. I don't know why this character is so large and the thing was covered so big. But let's just focus on, let's not ignore the mistakes right now, and let's focus on fast-moving enemies trying to cover up, certain things. If you know, you know. Fast-moving enemies, if you move very fast, this is a very, very solid thing for DOTs, and it's a direct buff to them. The faster characters move, the more they pop their own debuffs, and if we have more characters in future, bosses in future that maybe have 400 speed, 500 speed, moves every 2 turns or 2 instances, 2 ticks or something, that is a very huge DOT buff because you don't even need Kafka then. They just prop themselves and they just die from overacting. It's dramatic, but that's how damage is for DOT. The faster they move, the more damage that they take. Second thing, banner cycle. As of time of recording, we don't have the upcoming banners, but based on predictions, there might be predictions that we have also done on the channel. There might be DOT characters coming back into the game, which means accessibility of the very, very premium team becomes more relevant as well. So it's definitely accessibility, getting the better team compositions, faster moving enemies. These are things that definitely affect DOT's current game state and helping it look a little bit brighter in future, even just the next patch, which is a pretty massive change. And the third thing that I want to talk about, other than significant, these are massive things because it's accessibility, is the game state changing where your stronger enemies, the strongest enemies in the game, might be very, very quickly moving. Those are two circumstances. And the last one here is economic Hoyoverse money problem that is very, very realistic and is a style rotation. They have been selling us follow-up, they've been selling us break for the longest period of time. Most people have developed team compositions, and if you throw more carrots at a person or a puppy that's already very full, probably doesn't want to eat too much, they save, no money, Hoyoverse down, Hoyoverse bankrupt, end of service. Dramatic, but this leads me to my next point. There are 8 different teams or 8 different styles in Honkai Star Rail, and if you haven't checked out this video and you wonder like what are all these different terms, you can check out the video by just searching the 8 teams of Honkai Star Rail. I think you'll find it quite interesting. Long story short, too much focus, follow-up, break. If you want to make money in a game, if you are a company, you want to try to broaden character rosters out a little bit more, so you force them to pull the other different categories as well. Here, I highlighted the boxes for Jiaoqiu, certain styles that he plays on, just an example of how this framework works. If you want more information, you can check out their respective videos. But long story short, you need to pick up different styles in order to adjust to the changing meta. Whether you are playing characters that are limited 5 stars in general, or perhaps you're just making do with their 4-star counterparts, you want to hedge your account so that if the style change, you won't be like taken off the back. Suddenly your full clears become half clears, and then 1-star, 0-star clears, and then you feel very upset. So this is in a way helping you hedge your bet, and that's why we have these 8 different teams, so that you understand a little bit better what are the ways for you to get every single team composition possible, so that you can counter whatever the game tries to throw at you, and I think it's very, very helpful, and DOT is a worth it style to at least build into, because when meta rotates, it might be the new flavor of the patch, flavor of the month, alongside with other things, especially if you're starting to have a lot of faster moving enemies, which could be a game style that might be moving forward, because that also plays into other team compositions, styles like counter-based teams. We'll touch on that on another video, but it could be one of the directions the game is going. At this point, of course, the natural question is to ask which DOT character is best to pick. At the point of this video, I don't have official information of banners, and I want to wait for that as well. I will promise you this video is going to be out, but it's outside of this video anyway. This is talking about the style of DOT, and if you found this video helpful, I highly recommend you check out the 8 teams of Honkai Star Rail video right here, or if you're watching this sometime in future and live stream or information, everything is out, you can check out this video where we compare the 3 DOT characters. Thank you guys again so much for watching. If you appreciate the content, like, comment, subscribe. Any DOT lovers you know or your friends out there, share this video with them, and thank you guys again so much for watching. See you in the next video.